Hello, how are you doing today? It's so exciting to be here again. I'm particularly excited to be back here. Thanks to our friends at Fasicuto for giving us this lovely piece to wear, and at Olaposh World Interior Decors, where we are currently shooting. So now we're starting a series, and I'm very excited about it. And we're going to be talking about movie distribution in Nollywood. We're not just going to be skimming the surface. We're going to be going way back, what has been happening before, what is currently happening, and then provide solutions for the future. Basically, distribution just means that once I have a product, how am I going to distribute it, or how is it going to get to the hands of the end user? A producer produces a movie. Later on in this series, we're going to be talking about all that happened during production and everything, and all that power play. But today we're talking about the cinemas and the evolution. And it is important to take it from the point of view of cinemas, because cinema in Nigeria was where this whole thing started. In 1903 in Nigeria, there began the evolution of theater, really, or what we will call it. And what happened then was the emergence of silent theater. So this was theater, or this was movie, or this was series, or what I would personally even like to call them. They were skits, but in longer versions. So very long form of skits, and they were voiceless. And the most popular that were being aired in cinemas at that time were Charlie Chaplin and the rest of them. So that happened around 1903 to the 1930s, and cinema halls like the Glover Cinema, and then much later on the Penn Cinema in the now defunct Penn Cinema in Agege, where people go to, just to laugh, to enjoy. And it was a big deal. It was 3 pence then, which is an equivalent of 20 naira today, was what it took for a ticket, to go watch any of these skits. So around the 1980s, there were about 72 screens scattered all over the country, with about 1.2 million visits monthly, which means that on the average monthly, about 1.2 million people went to see the movies, up until the early 2000, in fact 2000 to be precise. And by that time, there was just 3 screens left. Now, the modern revival of cinema started, and it started with Silverbird Cinemas in the year 2004, and it was a revolutionary idea at that time. In fact, a lot of people did wonder, because not so long ago, or not too long before that time, the cinema culture had died down. This was the period where we were doing a lot of video recordings, or we're doing lots of CDs, and DVDs was still a thing, a very big thing at the time. Video clubs were also still in existence. So when Ben Murray Bruce thought it was important to revive the cinema culture in Nigeria, and thank God he did. So in 2004, Silverbird Cinemas was born, a revolutionary idea, and at the time a lot of people thought it was a crazy idea, until it became extremely successful. During the weekends particularly, screens were being sold out. Now, the cultural impact of that was also very, very, very important, as it came with its own challenge. Of course, those screens were being sold out, but there were also political and other socioeconomic problems. There was film censor problems. There was piracy, yes, and you would have thought that piracy was a problem that really plagued the DVDs and CDs era, but no. In fact, we got unconfirmed report having that some websites, names withheld, will pay cinema workers 20,000 naira at that time to record the entire movie with their voice, so that they can have it on their website, especially for foreign movies. And this did not help a lot. Presently, there are 4 major players in the cinema. That is your traditional cinema. This is not even accounting for your mobile cinemas like Imagine Cinemas and the rest of them, because let me just tell you, first of all, to be able to show movies, you need to get a license. The license to show these movies are not cheap. Don't worry, we'll get into all of that during the course of this video. Genesis Cinemas has 58 screens, and film house has 47 screens. It is important, so it is interesting to know that film house did get about 400 million naira some time ago to multiply more screens, and out of 100 they were supposed to do, they were just able to do 27 more at that period. And that also came with its problem. There was a problem in the north where cinemas were banned. It was a whole crisis, and then for movies to be shown, then they needed to also get certain clarification, no form of nudity, no form of immorality, and a whole lot of bottlenecks. In fact, there are some northern states where there are no cinemas, and those who want to enjoy a movie would have to travel all the way to Abuja where they can enjoy it. And so these are just some of the issues plaguing the cinema culture. And while talking about problems, another thing to note will be the issue of piracy. Like I said earlier, you would think that with cinemas, piracy would have ended, but it just became a whole other avenue. There's a whole drama presently when it comes to cinemas and viewing, and it's the December period. There's Dirty December. Lots of people are coming into the country, and so they want to see the movies. It's a time where families are relaxed and just want to have a good time, and the cinema is one of the cheapest and easiest places to go. So naturally, there are lots of feel-good movies, or there's just a lot of movies around that period. Now it now boils down to politics, who can play the game properly, who can market properly, and you will see people like Funke Akindele shine in that area. And what she just simply does is to rely on her millions and millions of followers on social media to critically push her movies. We want to look at it from the point of view of cinema owners. You are actually going to allot more screens to movies that are selling more tickets, because at the end of the day, you are also in this business to make money. So sometimes they are not biased, but sometimes they actually are biased, as some producers will go extra mile to tip the cinema attendants to convince people to watch their movie. These and many more are the dramas that have been plaguing the cinema industry. So now that we have talked on the controversies like the box office fraud, for example, the said wedding party grossed R1 billion. Meanwhile, it only grossed about 653 million naira in the box office, or Film One's monopoly tactics, or government tax. Of course, government did bring a 15% tax increase, and that affected movie tickets. It's important to also talk about the milestones, and the money, kaching as it were, that Nollywood through the cinemas has been able to rake in. Of course, Osofia in London, which by the way, they shouldn't do a remake, but let me rest that. Osofia in London grossed about 15 million naira in total up until now, when Funke Akindele's Everybody Loves Jennifer is grossing 1.8 billion naira. Very, very close to the 2 billion mark. Cinemas have come to stay. They have been for a long time. There was a little collapse, but they have come to stay, and we are here for it. It is important to note this, and that even with the advent of streaming services and all of it, that the cinema culture in Nigeria is going to stay, especially with film houses, Film One cinemas also dabbling into distribution and production and all other aspects of filmmaking. Film One cinemas, you must give it to them. They mean business, and their strategy is really, really, really working. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. Next, we're going to talk about the streaming platform. How did they come in? How did they go out, and what happened in between? I remain Anthony Olushola Odiande. I'm always excited to bring you these topics or to bring you these discussions. Please go to comment section. Let us know what you think, what you agree with, what you do not agree with, even though everything we said here is fact. But we'll remain here, and we're coming back next week to bring you more. On behalf of our sponsors and our partners, Studio Sport Edit, and also for Silk Couture and Olaposh World, we say thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one.